9 times since 2015, Richard Glossip has had a date with death. Days when he was scheduled to be executed in the Oklahoma State Penitentiary by lethal injection. And 9 times, the courts have delayed his execution so legal challenges could be considered. Now he's asking if the Supreme Court to throw out his 2004 murder conviction and give him a new trial. And this time he's supported by Oklahoma's chief law enforcement officer, Attorney General Gentner Drummond. Drummond says that the prosecution at Glossip's trial acted improperly, including withholding evidence from the defense and allowing a key witness to lie. Throw that evidence out, Drummond says, and there's not enough to convict Glossip, much less sentence him to death. Adam Kemp is one of our community's reporters. He's based in Oklahoma City. Adam, who is Richard Glossip and how did he get here?
Right. In 1997, Glossip was the manager of a motel that was owned by Barry Vantrease, the murder victim in this case. He was convicted of a murder-for-hire plot that Justin Sneed carried out. He said he was paid $10,000 by Glossip to murder Vantrease. Since then, it's been more than 25 years of Glossip on death row with, as you documented, 9 different execution dates and 3 last meals, actually, for Glossip. He had his original conviction overturned by the Court of Criminal Appeals here in Oklahoma, and then in 2004 was convicted again by a different jury. Since 2014, Glossip has had several execution dates that have come and gone. 2 different times his case has actually reached the Supreme Court.
And it's the 2004 retrial that's the subject of all this. And as recently as January, the Attorney General filed a brief with the Supreme Court opposing Glossip. But now he's switched. What happened? Is there concern about the key witness who testified in that 2004 case?
That's right, John. After Oklahoma lawmakers actually called for an independent investigation into the prosecution of Richard Glossip, several different concerns came to the forefront about Justin Sneed, the state's main star witness. That included, some testimony from other inmates who were with Sneed that they said he confessed to doing the murder by himself. Those interviews with those inmates were withheld from the jury trial. There was also concern about Sneed's mental health, that he had an undisclosed mental illness that was also kept from the juries. On top of all that, there was a memo that was found in the DA's office that detailed how prosecutors were feeding Sneed information before he would testify.
Now, in addition to the Attorney General of Oklahoma, he's getting support from the Innocence Project and also support from some legal scholars. Is there anyone opposing him?
Yeah, the Vantrease family themselves has been very vocal against Glossip, and has said that they've filed a friend of the court brief with the Supreme Court to have his conviction upheld. The Vantrease's son, Derek Vantrease, has actually said that he believes Attorney General Drummond has overstepped his bounds in the role here, saying that the Oklahoma Court of Appeals has already ruled on this, and they have chosen to uphold Glossip's conviction. On top of all that, Governor Kevin Stitt has said that he will not intervene on behalf of Glossip and is just waiting to see how this all plays out.
And, once the Glossip lost his case at the state Supreme Court, the Attorney General went to the state clemency board asking for clemency for Glossip and lost there as well. Now, since the death penalty was reinstated, Oklahoma's carried out more death sentences per capita than any other state. Could this case change the way politicians look at the death penalty?
Yeah, it's been a really fascinating look here at lawmakers' choices since this Glossip case has reached the Supreme Court again. There has been kind of a groundswell of support, not only to make sure that these death row cases are being looked at, but some Oklahoma State lawmakers are even Glossip's top champions. They've come out to really rally for support for him and say that he deserves a new trial. There's been different groups formed, Oklahoma lawmakers concerned for the death penalty, that is mainly backed by Republicans, to not only look at this Glossip case, but at other death row cases they believe maybe were not prosecuted fairly.
We're probably going to hear whether the Supreme Court takes this case early this fall. What happens if the Supreme Court says, no, we're not going to intervene here?
Right. That would put Glossip on track to have that 10th and what we hear is most likely final execution date. As he's been to the Supreme Court twice now, many law experts believe this is his final chance at possibly getting a new trial.
Communities reporter Adam Kemp, thank you very much.